You're listening to Pombo and Peter's Picks, the home of your favorite sports betting podcast. Presented by The Daily Goat.
Hello and welcome to Pombo and Peter's Picks. I'm Jason Pombo alongside Peter Alves. Peter, it is NFL week. How are we doing?
It's good. Yeah, good week for the NFL. The NFL draft is upon us. What is it, Thursday to Sunday?
Thursday to Saturday. So round one will be Thursday, rounds 2 and 3 Friday, and then 4 through 7 Saturday. And it's going to be in Las Vegas this year, Peter. If you were able to, would that be something you'd love to see, or what do you think?
Why aren't we there?
I know we absolutely miscalculated, but it is what it is. It's an exciting time of year. I'm really pumped for it. It's been for the last month or so. I've been getting really, really excited about it. From the Patriots perspective, we're not necessarily looking at the quarterback position this year, but I think there's a lot of talent in the middle end of the first round into the second and third round. So it's going to be an interesting draft. We'll get into it shortly, but first I want to introduce Brandon Carr, who is a huge college football fan. He's a huge NFL draft fan. He's going to join us now. Brandon Carr is on Roughing the Basket, which we're huge fans of here, along with Cheap Talk Wrestling, which we're also a huge fan of.
What's going on, guys? I'm doing good. A little bit under the weather, got some allergy season, you already know, but that doesn't stop me from being here. This is a very exciting time for me. Love the NFL drafts, love draft season, and it's only this week. I can keep counting down the hours at this point, the minutes, until it starts at 8 o'clock our time. I'm very excited. Yeah,
I'm super pumped up about it. As I know you are, Carr. So, Carr, what will you be doing during round one on Thursday?
Yeah, so school's radio station, WMON 91.5 at Curry College, we will be doing a little draft show. So we'll be covering the draft, and I'll be there along with the WMON sports department. So we'll be covering the draft live, keeping everybody updated. And first time I've ever gotten to do that. I know you did, Pombo, at one point. Very exciting time. Very excited to do that.
Yep, I did it in 2019, and it was a lot of fun. It was absolutely one of my fondest memories of the draft, just reacting to it live on air. I absolutely will listen to your coverage, Carr. I'm very excited to hear your raw reaction to every pick. That's exciting.
Your raw reaction
before we get into the NFL
draft no one and trade down, and it's like,
I
stayed up for nothing. Usually happens. It's pretty good.
Yep. Patriots will pick if they keep the pick at 10:05, but who's counting? Without further ado, let's bring on the final course here, the NFL draft. So I'm going to start off with this, right? So look, I'm a huge football fan, and Peter, you know that, live and die by football. I'll watch anything. I could care less. But it felt like this year, the NFL draft hasn't necessarily had the buzz that we're accustomed to having. Do you guys believe that is solely due to the fact that the quarterback position isn't necessarily the highlight of this class? Some people in their mock drafts have as little as 2 quarterbacks in the first round. Some only have 1 in the top 10. Some have 1 in the top 15. So like it all depends on certain mock drafts you look at it, but it's clear that the quarterback position is kind of a question mark. The top guys are Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis are the 2 that clearly stand out. And then you have other guys like Matt Corral, Sam Howell, Desmond Ridder, and that seems to be the core group. But it really isn't generating much buzz. So why don't you believe this draft is getting people excited?
Yeah, I'm just saying because there's not even a consensus top 1 pick in this year's draft. If Hayden Hutchinson doesn't go number 1, and back like last year, I mean, like Trevor Lawrence was the number 1 consensus overall pick for like ever. So
I agree. I think Trevor Lawrence brought in the excitement from that franchise standpoint. Now you have the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are going to be picking number 1. And it isn't necessarily a slam dunk that they're going to go with Aiden Hutchinson. I think they do. Carr doesn't.
Well, there's a rumor going around that they said they weren't even going to do it. So
yeah, there's a lot of rumors. I think the Jaguars ultimately, ideally, I think they would love to trade down. But I feel like, and Albert Brie of Sports Illustrated has talked about it, and a lot of other people have talked about it too. The opportunity to trade down is something that all these NFL teams are going to want to do because there's a lot of value in the end of the first round, second round, and third round. You can find a guy 45th overall that you could get 20th overall. You can get the same caliber player, which doesn't really bring the excitement doesn't bring people to the TVs and all that kind of thing. Carr, what do you think about the whole matter?
I mean, I think you talked about it to initially start. I think it's the quarterback position because look at last year's class. There were 5 quarterbacks drafted in the first round, all 5 going in the top 15. And, you have a guy in Trevor Lawrence who was seen as a generational quarterback. You have a guy like Justin Fields that a lot of people liked, including myself. And, Trey Lance is an exciting player, and Mac Jones coming from Alabama, right? Like you had excitement at that position. And I feel like that's what kind of a lot of fans gravitates towards. But I think also it might honestly have to do with like it being a defensive draft. I feel like a lot of people just get turned off by like defensive players for some reason. And it's a loaded defensive draft. There's going to be, I think, 3 offensive linemen that go in the top 10. So I think that's something that maybe doesn't seem like a sexy pick, right? So I don't understand why I feel like this draft should get the buzz because there's a lot of great players in it. There's a lot of great receivers in this class. I think I have like 7 receivers going in the first round.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like, I think it's an exciting draft personally, but I think Peter also kind of touched on it. There's not a slam dunk number 1 overall pick. Right now, my number 1 overall pick is Trayvon Walker, which, wouldn't be my pick, but that's kind of seems to be the guy that right now I think he's favored. I think he just took number 1 odds. So I just think with that, I feel like that would be more exciting too. Like if there wasn't like a slam dunk number 1 pick, because then it builds the suspicion. And then you talked about it with all the trades. I think that would build excitement for me with a bunch of teams willing to trade back, teams that want to trade up for a quarterback. Like, I don't know, just my opinion, but I think it's kind of a mix of that with the casual fan who, would be excited for the quarterbacks, I think more so than any other position.
One thing that, in my opinion, that I agree with what you said, Carr, but I think people would really be drawn to it if, let's say the Jaguars and Lions were both in need of a quarterback. So I guess you could argue the Lions are in need, but the Jaguars are obviously not in the market for a quarterback. And let's say there was 2 quarterbacks there that could go 1 or 2, and there really isn't a consensus on which one is better. I think that would draw people in because I think that creates controversies, arguments like, well, like I think this guy, I think Justin Fields is better than Trevor Lawrence, yada, 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 and so on. But I think when you're comparing defensive end pass rushers, I think it just takes away the appeal. Like you talked about, it's not sexy, despite the fact that getting to the quarterback is vital in today's game. From like a casual fan thing, it's like, all right, like cool. Like, what's his ceiling going to be? Oh, he's a Pro Bowler. Oh, he gets 12 sacks. Like, great job. But is he elite? I don't think people see that.
And I was going to say, like, I mean, the most popular players in college football are quarterbacks. Like, those are the guys that win the Heisman. The running backs win the Heisman, right?
Yeah.
Like, you don't see defensive players win the Heisman, right? So it's just, I think it's that really. And if we had, I think next year will be a lot better because we'll have like Bryce Young and CJ Stroud who will kind of be 1A, 1B, and that'll bring kind of excitement and a nice debate on who's better. But I really think this draft deserves the buzz. I really do. This is a great draft. Yeah. And I get it. If you're a casual NFL fan, you like the flashy players. I understand. But I mean, there's a lot of guys in this draft that I think could be really good. A lot of great players. And I know defense may not be the most appealing thing in the world, but I think it should be. It's very important to get after the quarterback. It's important to have your franchise tackle. It's important to have a walk down corner. There's a lot of those. I think it's an exciting draft. And I think for the casual fan, though, maybe not so much, but it definitely should be for a lot more people.
Yeah, you're totally right. And sticking with the theme of quarterback here, who's your favorite quarterback in the class? So again, there is no consensus. I've seen arguments from up to 4, maybe even up to 5 about who is the best in the class. People say there might not even be a franchise quarterback in this class. So Peter, I'll start with you. Who is your favorite quarterback in this draft class?
I like Malik Willis. I like him because he's a mobile quarterback. He's not a one-dimensional player, as we'll get to the next question. And is rocket armor's comparison to Jay Cutler in many analysts' eyes. And if you know me, I love smoking Jay Cutler.
Peter loves smoking Jay Cutler. That's his guy.
He's the same echelon as my Jeff Fisher. liking him for no reason.
Peter has like these two pictures on his wall. Like, got Jeff Fisher on one. He has Rick Grimes, and then I guess third now you would have to put Jay Cutler, right? Those are your
Yeah, exactly.
up in your wall. Yeah. Carr, what do you think? Do you agree with Peter with Malik Willis, or do you have a different opinion?
I'm with him. Like a few months ago, I was kind of undecided because I'm like, well, this is a weak quarterback class. But then, starting to dig into these guys, Malik Willis, I think, provides the most upside. And I feel like that's the type of player you got to target. And, well, granted, there's definitely flaws. The guy throws a lot of errant passes. He plays hero ball too much. Ryan's Carson Wentz, right? When that end. But the athletic ability is there. He can scramble. He's exciting. He can make the off-platform throws. He's got a great arm, and you see some of the throws he makes on the run are like absolutely ridiculous throws. But it's obviously not consistent enough. But I like him too in terms of his leadership qualities. I think his character is great. I don't know if you guys had seen the video that somebody just kind of took on him when he was just like walking down the street, and I don't think he knew that he was being filmed, but like he helped like some homeless guy.
Yeah.
Like that kind of shows to me like the character that you're getting with him. He's a coachable guy. And another fact too about him is he had 2 play callers last season, like at the same time. So being able to have 2 different guys in your ear during a game, it's hard. And his team wasn't really great. His offensive line sucked. He's played for Liberty, so he wasn't playing with NFL caliber guys. And he just, I don't know. I really like him. I don't know if he's going to be ready day one, but if he lands to a team like the Steelers where I have him going, I mean, they signed Mitch Trubisky. Is Mitch Trubisky the guy you want to learn from? Maybe not necessarily, but I think, just getting the time to kind of learn and, kind of get acclimated to the NFL will do wonders for him. And I would put my money on him.
No slander on Mitch Trubisky, please.
Man, if Mitch Trubisky can teach him how to not throw dumb passes at sometimes, I mean, good for him.
He was on the Bears. Gotta give him some slack.
True, Matt Nagy.
So I think I agree with Carr in terms of the fact that he's got the highest upside. I think he's a boomer bust prospect, honestly. That's how I kind of view him. I could see a scenario where in the right situation, he really works out. And I could see another situation where he lands in the wrong scenario and it ends up being a disaster. Kenny Pickett is somebody that I always kind of liked going into, I don't know, maybe the second half. I know a lot of people crap on his hand size. That's what a lot of people have kind of made fun of him for. And Carr, I'm sure you saw the video of Panthers offensive coordinator. What's his name? Who's the offensive coordinator with the Panthers? Old Giants coach.
Oh, Ben McAdoo, yeah.
Ben McAdoo, like looking at his hands and stuff like that kills me. And I just feel like Pickett could be steady. I think his accuracy is something that he can get better at. And somebody else that I kind of like in this draft is Matt Corral. I feel like nobody's talking about Matt Corral, and I think he could surprise some people.
That's Noah's guy.
Yep, absolutely. I like Corral. I do. I feel like those guys safer than Malik Willis, but again, Willis has the upside like you talked about. So it's an interesting situation if you're an NFL team, because I think personally, what Matt Rule wants to run in Carolina, I think Kenny Pickett fits better. Like I just think that's what the system he wants to run. You look at quarterbacks they brought in Sam Darnold, who he's not really a mobile guy. Cam Newton, we're not even gonna acknowledge. Teddy Bridgewater isn't really a mobile guy. They're kind of pocket passers. So I think that's why Pickett fits in well in Carolina. But like you said, Willis, he's been tied to a number of teams. You mentioned Pittsburgh. In my mock draft, I have the Saints trading up for him. The Saints have 2 first-round picks, and Peter, you love mock draft trades, right? Oh, I love it, Peter.
We'll rant there when we get there, yeah.
Oh, I love it. Love mock draft trades. But the Saints have 2 first-round picks, and they have the draft ammo to go get them. Could the Detroit Lions trade back up? They could. There's a couple teams that Willis could land on. So how many quarterbacks do you think are picked in the first round here, Carr?
If I had to give a guess, I think I have 3 right now.
You have 3.
But I mean, I could see 5 potentially. I mean, I would not be surprised. I mean,
That's what Noah said, right?
Like, yeah, I think so. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. My guess is 3 for my mock draft, but like the reason why I could see 5 is because teams want to get that 5th-year option. And it kind of gives them, more long-term flexibility with that quarterback. So I could see that happening. I don't think all 5 quarterbacks should be worthy of being taken in the first round. But teams are desperate. There are teams in the NFL that are desperate for franchise quarterbacks. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm going to go on the safe side. I'm going to say 3.
I'm going to say 4 personally. At first, I was on the 3 bandwagon like you were. And then it feels like Desmond Riddler has been kind of moving up in some mock drafts. I think Matt Corral to the Lions at 32 makes a lot of sense because the Lions also pick at 34. But I feel like if you're the Lions, Corral is going to be your guy, why would you pick him at 34? You pick him at 32, you get the 5th-year option if you think that's your guy. So I'm going to say 4. 5, it seems it's just a lot. Who'd be the 5th guy? You think Sam Howell? Would he be the 5th guy?
Yeah, Sam Howell. I know. I mean, he's met with all those teams that have needed a quarterback. So, he's the guy I think that's kind of underrated too in this class. I really like him. He's been a productive quarterback at North Carolina. Kind of turned that program around. He's been really good, but just kind of, we had a really good freshman season and then kind of disappointed his last 2 seasons. He was fine, but I think last season specifically, he lost a lot of talent. A lot of talent went to the draft. So, maybe, he wasn't given the best situation there, but yeah, I mean, I could definitely see 5 quarterbacks. I'd say 3 just because I feel like I don't think all 5 quarterbacks should be first round picks. There's just not that.
And just before I get to Peter, one last thing on Sam Howell that we mentioned. Correct me if I'm wrong, Carr, but wasn't he the quarterback 1 heading into the college football season?
Yep.
He was,
right? He was my number 1. Yep. He was my number 1 guy. Yeah. And he, just had a disappointing season.
I mean,
so that's why.
Sort of like Justin Herbert when he obviously fell to 6th overall and he ended up being the 3rd quarterback in that class. But I remember heading into that year, everyone, Justin Herbert from Oregon, he's the slam dunk, this and that. And people kind of got cold feet on him and he dropped a little bit. Sam Howell and Herbert are clearly different players. Justin Herbert was still a top 10 pick. Sam Howell was a fringe first round pick. So
everyone had been projecting that the Texans would take Sam Howell, the Lions would take Sam Howell. I remember all that, but that's why I still have him as like a top 3 quarterback because I don't want to like put him all the way down to 5. I think he's still pretty good.
Yep. Peter, what about you? How many do you think are taken?
Yeah, I agree with Carr. I think there's going to be 3, and we all agree with the general public on DraftKings. It's minus 250 over 2.5 as the draft is construed right now because you can't predict trades, and I don't care that you can predict trades. I have the Panthers picking 1, the Saints picking 1, 16 or 19, and the Steelers picking 1.
You got the Saints. Peter, I agree with you. I have the Saints going with 1.
The only reason why I have the Saints is because they have 2 picks in the first round.
They got 2. That's why I think they're moving up. That's to me anyway. When you accumulate picks like that, and they're kind of close like that, you kind of I don't know. And the Jameis Winston
I think they
contract
need
is interesting too.
I think they need to place Armstead, right?
Look, yeah, exactly. They obviously need help there, but if you're the Saints, new head coach down there, Jameis Winston coming off ACL injury, you fell short with Deshaun Watson. If you think Malik Willis or Kenny Pickett's your guy, you go get him, or Corral, whoever, you go get him, and you have the ammo to do it. People are really trying to move down in this draft, like we just talked about. So it might be, in terms of years past, it might be cheaper this year than it has in previous years in terms of moving up the draft board. I also have the Steelers taking 1. I think Carr alluded to that, and I have the Lions taking 1. So I have 4.
Yeah, Panthers, Steelers, Lions.
Do you know that no one has the Falcons, huh?
I think they're going to have a wide receiver because they have to, right? Because they have nobody.
Right.
Yeah,
I think, right? I think.
They don't right now. They have no good wide receivers. So I have them taking 1, and I think they're just not going to be good next year. So I think they're going to be in the run-in for one of those 2 quarterbacks I mentioned earlier. So
yeah, I could see a scenario. And before we switch gears to skill position players, there's been a lot of smoke about the Panthers potentially taking an offensive lineman at 6th overall. Do you believe that's just smoke, or do you believe that the Panthers are truly weighing about not selecting a quarterback? What if the Panthers don't take a quarterback here? That's when I think everything gets thrown for a loop.
Well, I think they have to. They're just walking it back because Matt Rule is like, "Oh, Sam Darnold's our guy," and then like 2 minutes later, he's like, "I don't know."
No, that was Ben McAdoo. That was also
whatever. It doesn't matter. They just feel bad for Sam Darnold, but it's gonna happen. I think. I mean,
you think they're just playing poker?
Yeah, probably. I think they're the most logical team.
They have to be, right? You would think. Carr, what do you think? Do you think it's a legit 50-50 decision for them if maybe Cross falls or Neal or something? Do you think they're just trying to screw with maybe the Falcons at 8 or something like that?
Or the Saints too. Yeah,
Saints,
I think it's smoke, and I mean their offensive line. I believe they franchise tagged Taylor Moton.
I think so too.
He was franchise tagged. I don't know if he was signed to a contract, and then there is a need like at their left tackle, like they have Cameron Urban right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's potentially. I know they were in the running for Baker Mayfield, but I think that rumor got shut down.
Yeah, they're apparently out on Mayfield now.
So
still a question mark on Garoppolo, but I don't know. I would be really surprised if they didn't take a quarterback.
And I think they're desperate, man. I mean, Matt Rule's fighting for his job. Like, I think you're going to take a quarterback.
I agree. And then if the guy's right, it buys him time to actually keep the job. So that's what I think personally. Now, I will say, if they don't take a quarterback, then all hell is going to break loose in that draft board. Because then you have the Falcons sitting there, and let's say they thought Kenny Pickett would be off the board, and they're like, we can go get Pickett now. And they're like, well, we also have a needed receiver. Then you have other teams like, I don't know, the Saints, like we said. Does Pittsburgh get antsy? Do other teams that?
A lot of things.
Yeah, there's a weird dynamic could happen. And if the Panthers elect to not take a quarterback, I think we ultimately all agree that they will. But crazier things have happened at the NFL draft. Crazier things have happened. Let's move on to skill position players. That draws in some excitement, similar to quarterbacks. Last year, Carr literally couldn't have been more right about Jamar Chase. He nailed that crap for years. Jamar Chase was his guy since like 2010. And
when he was in middle school.
Yeah, Carl used to watch Jamar Chase play 8th grade flag football. And he said the kid was going to be a stud, and he was right. So I think this crop of skill position players is a little bit different. I think the wide receiver group is a little bit, I think it's deep. I think even the first and second round, I think you get some quality prospects. The tight end group is non-existent in my opinion. The running back group, in my opinion, is also pretty non-existent. You're going to be lucky if you get one. I don't have a running back in my first round. I've seen some mock drafts differ, but I think the receivers, like you said, Carr, before 6 or 7 could get taken. I think that's in the realm of possibility. Yeah. So let's talk a little about skill position players. Carr, who's your favorite? Who is the next? Is there a Jamar Chase in this draft class?
No, I don't think there's anybody like Jamar Chase level. But I think there's a lot of good receivers in this class. My favorite personally is Traylon Burks. I really like him from Arkansas. Big play threat, has the frame 6'2", 225.
Yep.
He's been compared to Deebo Samuel. I mean, literally because he can make plays after the catch, and a guy that size with the speed that he has, and
crazy.
He's great. And I think I wouldn't say Deebo Samuel. I like AJ Brown more for him maybe.
I agree.
I really like that player, and there's a lot of good ones. I mean, Garrett Wilson. I think me and you both have him 8 going to the Falcons. He's a dynamic player. Drake London. He didn't really test, but he's a 6'5", 210-pound guy. He's been compared to Mike Evans.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of good receivers. Second round guys like maybe a Sky Moore from Western Michigan, George Pickens if he doesn't go in the first round. Christian Watson's been a guy who's really seen his stock elevate with his Senior Bowl performance and his ridiculous combine that he had. A lot of guys, and I think this receiver corps is really good. The tight ends, like you said, a little lackluster. There's no Kyle Pitts. There's no first round tight end, but there's a couple of guys that could be okay players, I think. In the running back position, Breece Hall is my running back 1. He's really good. Dynamic player. He tested really good at the combine, and I had Isaiah Spiller number 1, but I think Breece Hall has earned that spot for me now. He had a ridiculously good combine, and he's been a guy who's been an ultra productive player at Iowa State. So,
and just one thing on Hall here, the only fit I see is Buffalo at 25 in the first round.
Yeah.
Other than that, I just can't imagine.
I think the Falcons could take him in the second round. I think that's
I could see that.
Like if he were to go in the first round, I'd say
I think it's just Buffalo.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe you look at I'm trying to think in the late 20s. I don't really see it. I think it's Buffalo or bust for him unless we get a surprise.
Like a team trades up for him or something. Yeah. I mean that's possible.
That. Yeah.
But that'd be the only spot.
The Bucks could do it.
You see, I think Tampa.
Give Tom Brady more weapons. I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tampa took a receiver.
I could see it. I think Tampa's gonna.
I wouldn't be surprised.
No, it wouldn't shock me. I think Tampa goes like cornerback safety. I think that's
what I have them doing too.
So, Peter, who's your favorite receiver in this? Or favorite skill position player in this class. If you like a tight end more, God bless you.
Well, I mean, I want John Mechie on the Patriots so bad. So
I
bad.
do too.
He's
I
literally
love him.
Edelman 2.0. He's the best
I
slot
love
guy. He's
John
coming off an
Mechie.
ACL, which is another reason why the Patriots should actually get him. It's such a Patriots guy. He's literally hurt. I don't know where he's gonna get drafted, second, third round.
It could be second, third. I haven't seen anything
But
in the first.
I really need him on the Patriots. And if he gets drafted by the Patriots, I will buy a jersey. Like, come
Oh,
on.
Pete's
Wow,
going
okay.
jersey shopping.
Oh, all right. Well, we're putting that one in.
Yeah, we're clipping
Record
that.
that.
Peter, I
Clip that.
love Mechie too, and I think his connection with Mac Jones, we saw at Alabama. Mac Jones's last year, I think he got 6 touchdown passes. It was second on the team. And him and Mac's connection, I think, was huge. And like you said, the value could be there in the second.
Yeah, I don't know if
third
that's
round.
just like the Boston market, just like infiltrating my brain.
Okay, Carr, what do you think?
Just about John Mechie.
Oh no, well, sure you can talk about Mechie, but who's your favorite skill position player?
Favorite skill position player. I mean, Traylon Burks has just been a guy that I've been high on.
Yeah.
So that would probably be my guy. But hey, man, I respect the John Mechie hype. My favorite play from him, honestly, wasn't even like a catch or anything. I don't know if you guys remember this, but it was back in 2020. I think it was the SEC championship game, and Mac Jones threw an interception to one of the Florida defenders, and all of a sudden John Mechie just comes in and pops the guy.
Yep, rammed him. It was like it was kind of like Michael Floyd when he was with the Patriots.
Yeah,
that Dolphin game, and I think it was 2017.
Yeah, Edelman touchdown.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember that.
Loves that play. So that kind of just shows like, you know, his attitude, and obviously like, you know, making a play like that as a receiver, like, you know, those type of guys don't want to like put their body on the line trying to make a tackle like that. But I mean, it just shows the football player that he is, and I think he could be a pretty solid player. I think Jameson Williams is personally better than him, but you know, I think he could be a solid player, and you know, if he goes to the Patriots and already has some sort of connection with Mac Jones, I mean, we've seen, you know, like Joe Burrow get paired with Jamar Chase. We've seen, trying to think of other ones, Jalen Waddle and Tua, like, you know, something like that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if it would be to the level of that, but I think, you know, just having a guy that you're familiar with in the locker room and have some sort of connection with would be pretty good. And I think he'll be like a second or third round pick.
And one more connection here, Derek Carr and Devontae Adams. I know we haven't officially seen it yet, but that's going to happen. I like Jameson Williams sticking on the Alabama receivers. I think, look, if he didn't get hurt, I think he would have been the first receiver picked in this draft class personally.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I really do. I feel like I think he's going to end up at 11. I think he's going to go to the Commanders at 11. That's where I have him in the mock draft. I think.
Wait, John Mechie or Jameson Williams?
Oh, Jameson Williams. Did I say
okay? Yeah, you said Mechie. You're good.
Completely wrong. Jameson Williams is my favorite receiver in this draft class. Sticking with
Alabama. Did he play with Hurt?
Who, Jameson Williams?
Yeah, or is that too late?
No,
that's too late.
So he was on Ohio State, but like he wasn't playing a lot, so he transferred to Alabama. So he did technically play with Justin Fields and, you know, those guys.
Very brief time.
Yeah.
So I'm saying if Williams was healthy, I think he's the first receiver taken. And when you look at him, I just feel like he's versatile. You can move him around. He's the type of receiver that I could low-key see being that superstar that people are looking for. Not to the Jamar Chase level, but I just feel like he's somebody that has a shot.
The reports that I've seen, like, teams are very high on him. Like, I've seen people say, like, he's a superstar receiver. Like,
despite the knee injury and all that, like, I think,
and he's recovering really nicely too. Like, there's already videos of him like doing agility drills, sprinting, like squatting, like he's doing all that stuff already, and like he's got game breaking speed. He can win at all 3 levels.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's a good player.
He'll make a play. He's dynamic. He can do absolutely anything. And it wouldn't shock me if he went to the Falcons at 8. It wouldn't shock me if he went to the Jets at 10. Commanders at 11.
I don't want the Jets to get him. That would
or maybe if you look at other teams, do the Saints, maybe they package their picks and they go get him. Maybe the Saints are in a market for the receiver.
The Eagles have been a team that have reportedly been very high on him.
That's what everyone says. I can't see the Eagles picking 2 receivers and I don't know, back-to-back first rounds.
Well,
maybe
I would be surprised. I have them taking Traylon Burks.
No, I get it. I just feel like
maybe that's why I asked about Hurts. Yeah, I don't know if they.
Maybe. I mean, it wouldn't shock. Like it wouldn't shock me because that's what everyone else is saying. I personally I don't think Williams will be there at that point. Like I think there will be a team that's going to take him way earlier than that. Like I don't think he's going to make it past 11. I think.
No, if if he doesn't go to the Jets, the Commanders are taking him.
You go to the
Vikings.
Vikings. You go to the Vikings.
I still think he's gone by then. I think it's 11. And
the Vikings are a sneaky team to take a receiver too.
Yeah,
with Adam Thielen getting up there.
They got to pay Adam Thielen, which I don't think they're going to do.
That's possible.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely possible. Someone no one mentioned is Chris Olave. Do you like him, Carr?
Yeah, he's kind of fits more as a Z receiver. He's got deep, obviously he can stretch the field. He's fast, smooth route runner too. He's very smooth. He's a good player. I have him going to the Saints. I feel like that would just
that's a Saints guy. That's right. Winston literally drops back, chucks it 50 yards, and literally prays.
I just think it's a good fit, and Michael Thomas is still going to be there. I think he is at this point. I think he would be a good receiver to complement him because the Saints really need that guy that just goes down the field and stretches it. And Olave can do that, and he's a smooth route runner, good hands, and he's a good player. Good player.
You go to the Packers.
You know where I think he ends up? Kansas City Chiefs. Another team with 2 first-round picks. They have 8 picks in the first 4 rounds. Peter, I know you hate the trade and stuff. I would be shocked if they stood pat with their 2 first-round picks at the end of the first round and didn't move up. Like, I think they have the ammo to do it after the Tyreek Hill trade. I think they trade up to probably, I'd say about 20 overall, and they get Chris Olave if Olave is down there at that point. I think it makes way too much sense. There's no way the Chiefs are going to be complacent and just sit there with those picks. I think they are moving up and they're going to get a receiver.
You say that about the Packers with Devontae Adams? Because they have no receiver.
But here's the thing.
They could do it too, yeah.
They certainly could. The Packers also have the ammo to do it. I think they'll be more hesitant to do that. I think through the years, we've seen them be more conservative at the NFL draft. They haven't taken a wide receiver in the first round since 2002.
I think they will this year.
I agree. I just don't see them making that huge leap. Like, I think the Chiefs would put their eggs on the table and they would move up, opposed to the Packers. Like, if it wouldn't shock me at all if they moved to try to get Jameson Williams. That wouldn't shock me the slightest bit. The Chiefs are going to move up in this first round. I'd be shocked if they didn't. I think they picked 28th and 30th or 29th and 30th. And they have 2 first-round picks, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, 2 fourths. They are moving up. Absolutely. With everyone wanting to trade down, they're moving up and they're getting their receiver. And I think it's Olave. I think that's their guy. I think he fits them well. Great route runner. Not Tyreek Hill, but can do some of the things at least in terms of route running. They can groom him. I love that fit there. And I think if it's not Olave, it's somebody. They're moving up.
So I have them. Well, right now I don't have any trades in my mock draft, but like I have them taking.
Carr, you're nice. I'm reading.
I did it for you, Peter. Don't worry. I did it for you. There's going to be a lot of trades, but it's hard to predict. So right now I have them taking Sky Moore, which is a report that I've seen that they're very high on him too. And I know he's not like the most like the typical Chiefs receiver, I guess, but he's not like a burner. He is fast, but he's kind of more crafty. He's a little bit smaller, but I think it's, especially with reports saying that he's a guy that, they really like. I don't see why not. And, he's a guy I feel like it could be a reach. Like I really like Sky Moore, but in the first round, maybe, I don't know. But I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs have, we've seen them go into drafts and they'll take their guy. Like they'll reach on somebody that they really like.
Clyde,
like Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the back of the first round, right? I can see it.
Especially with all the picks they have. Let's move on to the defensive side of the ball. Carr, who's your favorite defensive player in the draft?
Kyle Hamilton. Yeah, you have your hand up. Listen, I know people have been kind of crapping on him lately because he had a slow 40 time. 4.59 is, it's a little slow, but you watch the film and I just don't see how this guy isn't a pro, at the very least a Pro Bowl player. I think he could be an all-pro. Like I don't want to like throw the word around a lot. I don't like throwing the word around a lot. I said it last year about Kyle Pitts, and I pretty much almost said it about Jamar Chase, but like I think Kyle Hamilton's a generational safety. I really think so. I mean, he's 6'4", 220. He's like absolute ridiculous size for a safety. And you watch him on the field, guy has insane range. His anticipation to be able to know where the ball is going and what play the defense is going to be running. The offense is going to be running. He's a very smart player, great ball skills. He had an interception, I believe it was against Florida State, where he covered so much ground, ran all the way to the other sideline and intercepted the ball, toe tapped it. crazy play. We've seen him blow up, 4th and 1s before. He's a great player, and I actually have the Texans taking him at 13 because I think people are gonna sleep on him just because of the position he plays. He's a safety. You don't see safeties really going in the top 10. And I think some teams are a little skeptical about the 40 time. I'm not really worried. Show to me that he's fast. And he's a fantastic player, and I think he's going to be really good. That's my, if I were to put like my flag or stamp on somebody, it's this kid right here.
Yep. Carr, I double down on what you're saying. Kyle Hamilton is my favorite player in the draft, not even just defensive player in the draft. He's a do-it-all safety. And like you talked about, the 40 time has scouts hesitant, but to me that frankly shouldn't even matter. I also have him going to the Texans. He's a Nick Caserio type of guy. Like I think he fits in well what Caserio learned throughout all his years with Bill Belichick. He's that kind of guy. Generational talent, like you said. I'd be shocked if he didn't pan out. Peter, what do you think?
So he's going to the Patriots?
Oh, I wish.
That would. I know the Patriots have so many safeties, but you got to take the best player available, bro.
Oh, Peter, me and Carr might like cry.
All right, so if you listen to last year, ukulele, right? This is my new ukulele person.
Who is it?
Here we go. Let me hear it.
You want to guess? You want to guess?
I'm not going to guess. I'll let Carr guess.
A defensive player?
Yeah.
Is it Sauce Gardner?
Oh, wow. Right on the nose.
Wow. I knew you would like the name Sauce. That's
Gardner.
Why. Yep.
And then I looked him up. He's actually really, really, really good. He hasn't allowed a receiving touchdown in 3 years. So it's pretty good. And is he the best cornerback in this draft?
Most drafts, yeah. I'd say him or Derek Stingley, but
I like Stingley a little more, but like those two guys are 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's Sauce Gardner with a name like that. Come on.
People said he can go 3 overall. I've seen some of that.
Yeah, the Texans they're in the market for a corner. I could see it. I have them taking offensive lineman, but like
me too.
Sauce Gardner, like 0 touchdown receptions on 1,103 coverage snaps is insane. Like he's
a player,
clamping guys. He clamps Jamison Williams in that the semi
yeah.
Like, I mean, that was his biggest competition. And like I know, like Cincinnati's not playing great, competition, but like, to go up against Jamison Williams and be able to kind of do a great job on him like that. He doesn't have like the weight or like the muscle mass, but like he's got the height and his hips are very fluid, and he just seems like a great man-to-man corner. Like he just seems like that type of like, I've seen him get compared to Richard Sherman. Like I could definitely see something like that too.
That's the connection with the Seattle Seahawks. Could they bring him?
They could take him. I have the Giants taking him.
I have the Vikings taking him. I think Stingley's end up the number 1 corner taken. I think Stingley ends up with Seattle, and I think there's going to be a little bit of I think there's gonna be 2 quarterbacks in the top 10, and I think that's gonna make somebody fall out of the top 10, and I think that'll be Sauce. I think he ends up with Minnesota, but most people
surprised you have the 10. Giants taking it for.
I think the Giants.
And like Bradbury, he's been a guy that's been in like trade rumors, or like they're looking to get rid of him, and like he just seems like a fit too with that defense, because like their new defensive coordinator is the guy from the Ravens, and they blitz a lot, so like you're gonna need like a corner who can like play man to man, and he just
Wink Martindale, absolutely.
He just fits. He literally fits that perfectly.
Yep. I could see that. Now let's move on to like prospects that have been overvalued throughout this whole draft process. Typically it's quarterbacks, but how we feel about it. Carr, what do you think?
Well, I said earlier, Trayvon Walker, like, I understand the hype. Like this guy, like before the combine, I'm pretty sure this guy was projected to go in like the top 25, like 20 to 32 range. That is an insane jump to make, to go from being a late first round pick to the number 1 overall pick, potentially. Crazy. So I understand his combine was crazy. He's 275 pounds and he tested out of this world, right? But this guy's only had 9.5 sacks in his college career. He only had 6.5 last year, I believe. So the sack production isn't there. Now, that doesn't mean everything, but like, you want to be able to see that. He still is kind of raw as a pass rusher. And especially if you're going to be playing him at edge, which he really didn't do a ton of. I think he kind of played more inside. It's something that you are taking like if you're the Jaguars and you take him, like you're taking a stab at what he can be. I just don't know if he can end up getting to that level, especially being a number 1 overall pick, and making that big of a jump is insane to me. I just feel like that he is a slightly overrated prospect at this point. Like I think I would consider taking him in the top 10, but like number 1 overall is crazy to me.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. I think the jump there has been, I don't want to call it unprecedented, but it's certainly been notable, like you talked about. And I think when you look at him, is there actual interest that he could go number 1, or is it smoke? I know all the betting lines say it's not smoke.
I mean,
it's hard to not fear the overvalued there.
And I just, Trent Baalke too, but how that guy operates an NFL team, it just seems like it's gonna happen, and I'm waiting for it to happen at draft night. And I know, like, I'm not going to be surprised when it does, but I know people that are going to be surprised, and I feel like Jaguars fans are going to be pissed off that they didn't take Aiden Hutchinson.
Mm-hmm. Yep, agree.
I'll piggyback off that. I had Trayvon Walker too, because I don't get how NFL Combine can really, really help you. Like whenever somebody has a bad combine, it doesn't like affect them like as much. But like if you have an insane combine, it just like shoots you up the draft board, as Carr said.
Like Josh Allen a couple years ago.
Or anybody. I mean, it is cool to see like people running fast or like jumping high. But if you're that good anyway, like you should be drafted where you're drafted. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
And I want him to go to the Jets so bad, just so he can just like.
Well, honestly, I think if he doesn't go to the Jaguars, he's going to go to the Lions. I think I'm pretty sure Dan Campbell really likes him too.
Yeah, so. He's going 1 or 2 at this point, unless.
But I don't want him to succeed though.
He's going 1 or 2 in my opinion.
Oh my God, the Jaguars take Aiden Hutchinson. Poor Noah, bro. I'm just, oh my God.
And just wait till Matt Corral goes 31.
Oh my God, dude, over, man. That poor kid.
I know we wouldn't hear from him for weeks. What about in terms of undervalued?
You know what my guy is going to be is Tyler Linderbaum. He's a center from Iowa who, honestly, I've seen rumors and reports that he could even fall outside the first round. Kind of like Kyle Hamilton. It's a position that's like not ultra important. Like it's not a tackle, it's a center. But I think Tyler Linderbaum, I understand like his weight's a little, questionable. Like he doesn't have as much mass to him, but he's in like an athletic freak at the center position. And, I think he can be a great run blocker. He kind of reminds me of Jason Kelce from the Eagles. And I just think that he would be a great plug and play guy from day one. He's one of the best center. I mean, I can't think of another guy at the center position that I've seen as good as him coming out of college. So I really like Tyler Linderbaum, and I have him going to the Bengals at 31, which would be a great pick for them. I think he's a pretty underrated prospect at this point, though. I'm a big fan of Tyler Linderbaum.
A, what a name. B, I mean, I agree. Centers are really important. They touch the ball the most.
Yeah,
good one.
There's not like a tackle, but I think he could be good. I really do. Like pass production.
Jay, don't laugh. I don't have anything to add, seriously to add to that conversation. I have no idea who that is. So
look him up, man. Just look up some tape, bro. Watch some center tape.
I'm not trying to get blacklisted on the internet thing.
Oh, Peter. I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to go opposite side of the ball. I'm going to go Dax Hill, cornerback safety.
I like that. That's good.
He's slated to go in the mid-20s. Could fall to the early 30s, but he's somebody that's a do-it-all kind of guy. Is versatile, moving around all over the field. He's somebody that Jim Harbaugh spoke glowingly. And I think he's a kind of guy that could seep into the 20s. And
that could be a Patriots pick, too.
Yeah, it could also be a Patriot pick. He's somebody that in my mock draft personally, I had him slated to go into Buffalo at 25.
I have him going to the Bucs at 27.
But he's quick, he's versatile, he can do it all. And I feel like he's kind of being overlooked. He's right in the conversation for a top 15 pick. I think he's that kind of player. Peter, what do you got?
I have your boy Jameson Williams. I think he's getting. I know he's coming off the injury and I don't know if it's just our market, but everyone's talking about Mechie more than Williams.
Interesting, Peter. I'm glad.
I was gonna say another guy too. I don't know if he's gonna play this year, but David Ojabo, the Michigan edge.
Yes.
He was supposed to be out. He probably would have been a top 20 pick. And unfortunately tore his Achilles. And that, is not great.
In his pro day.
Yeah, his pro day. It stinks. So I don't think he'll go in the first round, but probably a second round pick. He probably doesn't play his first season, but I mean, he's a guy that, can be a really good player. And, I know like he kind of got overlooked by Aiden Hutchinson. Is obviously he's a guy who could potentially go number 1 overall, but he was also really good too. So, kind of hoping that he can be that player before tearing his Achilles, but I think he could be pretty good. And what kind of sucks for him, I kind of wish like he was able to go back to school. Yeah, I feel like that sucks because you're like, he was going to be a first round pick, and then
it's a similar situation of like Jalen Smith.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Mm-hmm. I know his was I think it was the national championship. I believe that's.
I think so.
Smith
Yeah, that sounds right.
And I think he fell to the third round. He fell a lot.
Second. Round. I think it was very early second round to the Cowboys.
But he was projected to be a top 10, top 15 pick, and he fell. And he had a couple good years there, but he clearly ended up fading out. He has no speed whatsoever now.
Yeah, I wish he could go back to school, to be honest. Yeah, like that sucks because I mean now you're going to be losing on like the first round money and don't have a 50-year option.
I still think he's got. In my mock draft, I had him in the first round. I did. I think there's. Who did I have him to? I had him going to Green Bay at 28.
That's not
I think another landing spot. If KC ends up sticking with their 2 first-round picks, they need help at the pass rusher spot. They could take a chance. I could see them doing that.
I could see that too.
There's a couple. You look at other teams like 4 seed, a team like the Lions at 32. I think they're going to get their pass rusher early on in the second overall pick. But he's somebody that I really like. That's a good pick. To end it here, let's give our top 5 list here, Peter. Top 5 of our projected best prospects in the class. So we'll start with Carr, and then we'll go to Peter, and then I'll finish it up.
Okay, number 1, mentioned him already, Kyle Hamilton, generational safety prospect for me. Really like him and what he could be in the NFL. I think he's going to be fantastic. So before the combine, I had Kayvon Thibodeau, or Thibodeau, I believe it is, over Aiden Hutchinson. I think that has since changed because Aiden Hutchinson also had a great combine. So I'm putting Aiden Hutchinson too. I think he's also very relatively safe. And I think he's going to be a great player. Derek Stingley is my number 3. Look, Stingley had a great freshman. He was the best corner in college football his freshman season. And then dealt with some injuries that kind of, derailed a little bit of his last 2 seasons. But this guy is an elite player. And I think when he's healthy and he's right, he could be one of the best corners in the NFL. Like, I really believe that. And he's a fantastic player. Sauce Gardner's my number 4. With him, kind of the same deal, except, obviously he didn't give up a single touchdown for the 1,103 coverage snaps. And he's just been a lockdown corner his entire career at this point. So he's my number 4. And then number 5, I have Kayvon Thibodeau, a player that's been he's a polarizing player, I would say. A lot of people have questioned his, his desire to get better practice, play football, all these things, but I don't buy it. He's a guy that's gotten better every single season. He probably would have been my number 1 overall pick in this class if it wasn't for, some of these other guys who have risen up. But Thibodeau had a great season last year too, and he's a dominant player, just needs to develop some pass rushing moves. But this guy has very, very rare athleticism, and his bend is ridiculous. He can be a fantastic player if he can just, kind of develop some pass rushing moves. So that's my 5.
All right, Peter, what's yours?
So 1, I have Aiden Hutchinson. 2, my boy Sauce Gardner. Carr, help me out with this one. The offensive tackle from NC State. I mean, he's projected to go in the top 5. I don't know. He's got to be good.
Ike Ekwonu.
Listen, I'm not gonna try. I mean, he could be the next Penei Sewell or Joe Thomas. Come on. I don't know.
I almost put him at 5 too. He's very good. He's my favorite tackle.
CJ, don't laugh. I trust Carr.
I was hoping you'd go for the pronunciation.
No, I'm not even gonna try. 4, I have Garrett Wilson, wide receiver, Ohio State, and 5, just because I gotta plant my flag Malik Willis.
So I'm altering mine from what we talked about before, because you know what? Peter just has me on the bandwagon with his list. My number one is Kyle Hamilton, safety Notre Dame. Totally agree with Carr. 2, Derek Stingley, cornerback LSU. 3, Aiden Hutchinson, pass rusher Michigan. 4, Jameson Williams, receiver Alabama. And then 5, seems like this is the story of the pod. Sauce Gardner, 5, Cincinnati cornerback.
I'm gonna bet on defensive player of the year, rookie of the year.
I love. All right, I was originally gonna have Andrew Booth, cornerback Clemson, who I really
not
really
a bad
like.
player. I respect that.
I think he's gonna be a really good player, but yeah, I was talked into it. I'll go Sauce. I'll take Sauce 5.
Sauce, man. That is like, I know it's not his real name, but like, dude, being called Sauce.
Wait, that's not his. That's not his.
No, that's not his.
It's
real name.
It's Ahmad.
It's Ahmad Sauce.
Ahmad Gardner, but Ahmad Sauce Gardner.
If he's ever called Ahmad, I'm never gonna.
They'll call him Sauce.
I hope Matt puts Ahmad Gardner on the ground
just to piss you off. Oh god.
All right. Does anyone else have any NFL draft things they want to say, or
put a flag into it? How many trades are there going to be in the first round?
Oh my god! Wow, we
3.
I'm gonna say more. I'm gonna say like 5, 6, maybe.
Oh, okay. Peter.
I mean, no, I'm not gonna answer that question. But no, I was just wondering.
Okay. Well, I think the Saints trade up. I think the Chiefs trade up, and then I think you could see a scenario in which Pittsburgh or Philly does something.
Does anybody get into the first round that's not in the first round?
No, I don't see a move with Chicago, Miami get in.
Because there's a ton of teams that don't have a first round pick, obviously.
Yeah, Chicago, Miami, 2 off the top of my head. The Raiders.
You know, I got a Peter can root for.
Okay.
All right. So, Peter, did you know there's also another generational prospect in this draft?
Is there?
He's a punter. His name is Matt Arizia. All right. He's a punter for, I believe he plays for San Diego State. He I don't know how high he's gonna go. Like he'll probably go in like round 4 or 5 or something. Yeah.
A punter is gonna go in the 4th round.
He is really good.
Peter,
I'm not even kidding.
Just be prepared when the Patriots take him.
The Patriots are gonna take this guy. Like I'm not even joking.
You watch, Peter. Just when I told you that Jake Bailey,
we'll beat Ryan Allen.
The
Super Bowl.
I said that, Carr. We were training camp, right? 2019. The Patriots had a punting competition between Jake Bailey and Ryan Allen, and I'm watching them. And Peter's like, "This is a waste of time. Why do you get 2 punters? Ryan Allen's gonna beat him out." I was like, "There is no shot."
Well, they just won the Super Bowl.
Jake Bailey,
that was the Rams Super Bowl, right?
But what Jake Bailey was able to do, he punted bombs. Jake Bailey is the future punter of this team, and you're like, no shot. I think we made. How
was he last year?
I hit the W. Bailey did not have a good year. No. But he was arguably the best punter in football 2 years ago.
Yeah, I know. I'm just being annoying.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if they took one because he's a free agent, I think, at the end of next year. So I would not shock me the least if they took this guy.
Oh, cool. Well, what the Patriots need out of everything on that team.
Peter, you want to make another punting bet in training camp next year?
Yeah, we could if you want to. I mean, they better not take that punter. I hope they literally need.
He had an 80-yard punt.
Peter, this guy is nails.
Do you know what his nickname is? You know what his nickname is? Punt God.
Punts God, Peter. You gotta watch.
Bro, I'm not even kidding. He's good.
You gotta you're gonna be like what? Like
51.2 yards per punt.
In college, that's insane.
That's pretty good.
Like the culture take him, right? And be Pat McAfee 2.0 or
Pat would be
Pat Ariza. Right?
So that's the guy, Peter.
I know you said off the air that you don't like rounds 4 through 7. There you go. There's a reason to watch. Matt Ariza.
You get that, Peter? You write that down?
Yeah, I did write that down. I actually wrote down that.
Watch the punt.
I'm telling you, after we're done, watch clips of him and be like,
if he gets
San Diego State University.
Wherever he gets picked, I'm gonna be like, nice. I'll call to it and say nice.
Good. I'm expecting. I'll give you the like. All right. Well, that's our NFL draft preview. Carr, thanks for coming on as always.
Of course.
Huge fan of Carr. Carr, you can shout out your socials.
Of course. I'm sure I'll be covering the drafts. Well, as I cover it at WMLN, I'll probably be tweeting too. So go follow me at bcart_13 on Twitter. I'll be tweeting about the draft. I'll probably have my updated top 10 rankings for the positions. And obviously you'll be able to, at this point, I think you guys be able to see my mock draft. So
yes.
Go read that. Go read Pombo's, go read Dylan's, go read mine.
Yes. We love mock drafts here. And I'm ready. Let this thing start. I'm pumped.
And one last thing, Noah, we miss you.
Yes.
Lions got 2 first-round picks. Big day for
two
man.
huge, arguably one of the biggest days in their franchise history.
Yep, huge.
All right, Peter. Catch you next week.
What do you think it's gonna be? Ready?
Ready.
Stay saucy.
Matariza.
Punt
God.